All right, we've solved some multi-step equation, or inequalities, excuse me, some multi-step inequalities. Now we're going to be looking at solving multi-step inequalities where the variables are on both sides of the inequality. Very similar again to equations, but with a slightly different symbol in between. Okay. Solve the inequality and graph the solutions. You've seen these instructions a lot, and so we're going to do, again, very similar to what we did with Chapter 2. We're going to get all our m's on the same side. Now, there's lots of ways to get the right answer here. I'm going to do it one way. The way I'm going to always do it is I'm going to get the variables together first. That seems to be easier depending on the problem, but it's up to you how you want to do this. But you have to remember, we have to have no m's on one side of the inequality, all the m's on the other side. Now, to avoid negatives, if I minus 2m from here, 2m's minus 2m's is 0 m's. So I have no more m's on the right side of the inequality. I still have this positive 6, however. So I'm going to leave a space here because there's no more m's over there. Whatever I do to one side of the inequality, I have to do to the other side. It's called the subtraction property of equality. So 4m's minus 2m's is 2m's. I still have the minus 3 and the less than. Now, you don't have to leave that big space there on the right side, but I'm going to. Now, to isolate the variable, to get the variable all by itself, I have to get rid of that minus 3 right there. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Again, the addition property of equality, although it's not an equal sign, but same idea. So we end up then with 2m's. Okay, I'm going to leave a big space because minus 3 plus 3 is nothing. And 6 plus 3, we get 9. Now I still have to get m by itself. I do the inverse operation. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I'm going to get that m is less than 4.5 or 4.5. It really depends on what you want to write. Either one is fine because it doesn't say fraction or decimal. So I'm going to go with 4.5. Now I'm going to graph it. Again, we need to have at least 5 numbers on our number line here. 4.5 is my solution. And I'm going to get that 5.5. And I've mentioned this lots of times, but I'll keep saying it. You can count by whatever scale you want, as long as you are consistent with your scale on that particular graph. M is less than 4.5. Well, I know that 2.5 is less than 4.5. So I'm going to go this way. And M will never equal 4.5. So I have an open circle. And that's solving inequality with variables on both sides. Pause it. Try these two on your own. I'm going to assume that you paused it. I'm going to assume that you tried it on your own. Give myself a little bit of room here because I write big. So I'm going to get all my variables together first. I could minus 7x from both sides like this. Or I could minus 4x from both sides like this. It doesn't really matter. However, I think you're going to run into problems if you do it this way, just because 4x minus 4x is 0. And that just adds to some confusion. It's not wrong, and you can certainly do it that way. But I'm going to minus 7x from both sides. I'm going to get negative 3x greater than or equal to a positive 6. And if I solve for x here, I'm going to have to divide both sides by a negative 3. 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. I've got x all by itself. I divided by a negative. If you divide by a negative, we need to turn that symbol around. Do the flip and the flop and the flippity-flop. X is less than or equal to negative 2. And now I'm going to graph it. Negative 2 goes in the middle. Make sure you're counting correctly because we get further away from 0 as we go to the left. X is less than negative 2. Negative 4 is less than negative 2. And it could equal negative 2. X could equal negative 2. So negative 2 could be a solution. Next one. Same idea. We'll solve for t. A variety of ways to get to the final answer here. Because I don't like negatives and I want to avoid them if I can, negative 2t plus 2t is 0. So I'm going to add 2 t's over here and get 7 t's. Plus 1 is less than negative 6. Remember that minus sign stays with the 6. And if you don't like that idea, you can always do your keep change, and you'll still have a negative 6. Now I'm going to minus 1 from both sides, and get that 7t is less than negative 7. Negative 6 minus 1, remember, is not 5, or negative 5. It's negative 7. Divide both sides by 7 to get t by itself. And since I divided by a positive number, I leave that symbol alone. Doesn't matter if it's negative 7 or not. If I divide by a positive number, we leave it alone. You can always prove that to yourself by picking a number and making sure it works. So negative 1, 0, 1. Fill in my graph. T is less than negative 1. There's been a lot of less thans in these examples. T is less than negative 1. Negative 2 is less than negative 1. Okay. Got two more here. They're longer, but you can still do it. So give these two a try. Pause it, solve and graph the inequality. I'm going to assume that you paused it and you graphed it. Give myself a little bit more room here for this. And so if we are solving the inequality, we've got a couple things we can do. You want to look at both sides of the inequality and see what you can combine together. So I've got 6 plus 3k minus 3. I can combine some like terms here. 6 minus 3 is going to give me 3 plus 3k. I can simplify this side by distributing through the parentheses. Now some of you might be wondering, well, why can't we just divide both sides by 2? You can, if you remember from the last video. The problem is that you'd end up with 3 halves, 3 over 2 and 3k over 2, which is not wrong. You can do it that way, but we're going to avoid the fractions if we can. So we've got 2k minus 6 is greater than 3k plus 3. I'm going to get my k's all together, so I'm going to minus 2k from both sides. Again, this is not the only way to do it, but this is the way that I'm going to do it. Got a negative 6 plus k, or 1k. If you want to write 1k, that's fine. K's are all together. Let's get all the non-k's together. So I'm going to minus 3 from both sides. I'm going to get negative 9 is greater than k. Now this is where it helps to really be careful of which way you're doing things. Had you subtracted 3k from both sides at the beginning, you would have had a negative k on the left-hand side of the problem. You would have had to then flip some signs around. And so if you can avoid negatives, you can have less to worry about with flipping the symbol back and forth. Now I have to graph it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 9 is my solution, so I put that in the middle, and I count a few on either side. I've got that k is less than negative 9. Negative 9 is greater than k. Well, negative 9 is greater than negative 10, which means that negative 10 could be a solution to our problem. This says negative 9 is greater than k, and so negative 9 is greater than negative 10. But it will never equal negative 9. Next one. So same idea, we're going to simplify both sides of the inequality before we do anything else. So on this side, combining some like terms, I've got 0.5x, 1.9x. I'm going to get 2.4x minus 3/10. And on the other side, there it goes, nothing. Can't combine anything together over there. So I've got my simplified inequality. Now I want to get all my x's together. So I'm going to subtract 3/10 x from both sides. I get 2.1x minus 3/10 is less than 6. I'm going to add 3/10 then to both sides and get 2.1x is less than 6.3. And that worked out really, really well. We got a nice number from this, because when I divide both sides by 2.1, I know that 6 times 3 is 2. No, other way around. 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 3 is 3, which means that 6.3 divided by 2.1 is 3. I graph my solutions then. 3 goes in the middle. Nope, not 6. 2, 1, there we go. If x is less than 3, then I've got an open circle here. and x is going to be less than 3. So 2 and 1 could be solutions for x. We've got a story problem that we're going to do. Advertising company. They charge a fee of $24 plus 10 cents per flyer to print and deliver flyers. I'm going to stop right there. So I'm not going to read any further. I know you have this on your page, so you can certainly read further. But if I stop at that first sentence and I say, hey, there's numbers in this sentence. This is math class. I might need to know those numbers. So let's look at them. If it's $24 plus, that's a word I know. That's a word in math that means an addition symbol. $24 plus 0.10, so 10 cents per flyer to print and deliver flyers. I could maybe write an equation or at least an algebraic expression from those words. $24 plus 10 cents per flyer. I'm going to go with F for flyer. Print and More, great name. Print and More charges 25 cents per flyer. No flat fee. So just 25 cents per flyer. You can use X or lightning bolt or smiley face, doesn't matter. I'm using F. For how many flyers is the cost at A plus advertising less than, hey, there's another phrase that we have a math symbol for. For how many flyers is A plus advertising less than the cost of Print and More? Well, this first one was A plus advertising. The second one here, this was Print and More. And so if I want to know for how many flyers is the cost at A plus advertising, when that one is less than the cost of Print and More. An inequality. I can solve an inequality. I can figure out exactly how many flyers it would be. So I'm going to solve for F. I'm going to get all my flyers onto one side. I'm going to get that 24 is less than, what is that, 15 hundredths, 15 cents per flyer. Divide both sides by 0.15. That's not one that I'm prepared to do in my head right this second. So I'm going to take out a calculator and go 24 divided by 15 hundredths, and I'm going to get 160. 160 flyers. Less than X. So, but that doesn't quite answer the question. I've solved the inequality, but let's look at the actual question. For how many flyers is the cost at A plus advertising less than the cost of Print and More? So what solutions does this give? This is like that question, describe the solutions. So really, based on what the question says, the answer should be more than 160 flyers. More than 160 flyers. Because X is our solution. How many flyers will it be? X. X is the answer. Always, X is the answer. And actually, I used X. I suppose I should have used F. But F is the answer. So what could F possibly be? F is any number greater than 160. And so more than 160 flyers is the answer to this question. So when you see a problem like that, make sure you're actually answering the question. How many flyers, for how many flyers is the cost of A plus advertising less than the cost of Print and More? More than 160 flyers. So these are kind of blurry, but I want you to solve each inequality and graph the solutions. This is page 198, 27 through 32. I printed them here, but it's kind of blurry, so you can certainly use the book for this.